Hello, Abnormal Investigations. How's everybody doing, man? It is so cold here in Oklahoma. The actual temperature right now is 11 degrees. We have a north wind, which makes the wind chill a lot colder. All right, guys, I've got an encounter for you today, but I want to remind you tonight at 8 o'clock Central Time, we have a special guest on our live tonight. Lavon Holina is going to be on our show tonight. And you're not going to want to miss it. She's had a lot of exciting encounters. We're going to talk about them. And maybe we can get her to give us a description of what she's seen, guys. Come and interact with us and chat with our moderators. They love talking to you all and having conversations. So come and join us tonight at 8 o'clock, guys. It's going to be one hell of a show. I'll never forget the day my family and I encountered the Meddy Bimps howler in Washington County, Maine. It was a typical summer day, with my husband and I driving down a long rural road with our elderly mother and aunt in the back seat. We had dinner plans with a group of friends and relatives who lived in the area. As we drove, we noticed a table with a sign that read, Indian Township Reservation. We stooped and we stopped to take a look, and that's when we saw it. A large hairy creature was standing there in the woods just beyond the table. It was huge. It was at least 8 foot tall, and whenever it seen us and knew that we seen it, it let out a loud scream. I'm talking, it was super, super loud. We were shocked and terrified, but we tried to stay calm and get a good look at the creature. It was covered in dark brown hair, and its eyes, they were so big. We watched it in awe, and it moved through the woods, its massive strides eating up the distance. After what felt like an eternity, the creature vanished into the trees, leaving us shaken but also fascinated. We knew we had seen something incredible, something that would stay with us the rest of our lives. As we drove away from the reservation, we couldn't stop talking about what we had seen. We knew that what we had seen would be with us the rest of our lives. We decided to stop at a local diner to gather our thoughts and process what had just happened and, stretch our legs and back. And as we sat down at the booth, we couldn't help but notice the strange looks from the locals. It was as if they knew something we didn't. We ordered our food and began to discuss our encounter in hushed tones. We were all still trying to wrap our heads around what we had just seen. Suddenly, an old man sitting at the counter caught our attention. He was staring at us with an intense gaze, as if he knew our secret. "Excuse me," he said, getting up from his stool and walking over to our booth. "I couldn't help but overhear your conversation. You're the ones who saw the Meddy Bimps howler, aren't you?" We were taken back by his directness, but we nodded in unison. The old man smiled, knowing, and sat down next to us. "I've lived in these woods my whole life," he said. "I've seen things that would make your hair stand on end. But I've never seen anything like the Meddy Bimps howler. That thing is a legend around here. Some say that it's a spirit. Others say that it's a monster. But one thing's for sure, it's real, and it's not to be trifled with." We listened in awe as the old man told us stories of the Meddy Bimps howler, encounters with locals over the years. We realized that our experience was not an isolated incident, but rather part of a larger pattern of strange occurrences in the area. As we finished our meal and prepared to leave, the old man handed us a small piece of paper with a cryptic message that he had scribbled on it onto a napkin. "Be careful," he said. "The Meddy Bimps howler is not to be underestimated. It will haunt you for the rest of your lives." We left the diner with a sense of unease, wondering what the hell had just happened and what other secrets did these woods hold that we didn't want to find. As we drove away, we couldn't help but look back. We half expected to see the Meddy Bimps howler standing in the distance watching us, but there was nothing there, just an empty road stretching out behind us. We drove for hours, trying to put as much distance between ourselves and that town as we possibly could, but no matter how far we went, we couldn't shake off the feeling that what we had seen was somehow following us. As the sun began to set, we decided to stop at a local motel to spend the night. We were exhausted from the day's events, and we needed some rest. But as we lay in bed, we couldn't sleep. We kept hearing strange noises outside our room, and we couldn't shake off the feeling that something was wrong. Suddenly we heard a loud knock at the door. We froze, wondering who it could be. We cautiously got out of bed and approached the door. "Who is it?" my husband called out. There was no response. We waited for a few moments, and then the knocking started again. This time it was louder and more insistent. We knew we had to open the door to find out what was going on, so my husband went to the door. He took a deep breath. I slowly turned the handle, and the door creaked open, and we were met with a sight that made our whole life change. Standing in the doorway was a large, hairy creature. Its eyes were focused on my husband right through the crack of the door, and its massive frame filled the entire door. Now, the motel we're staying at is on the side of a mountain that is full of trees, so it could have very easily crawled up from the mountain below. It would have been very easy. We were paralyzed with fear, unable to move or speak. The creature began to move closer, and I'm telling you, this was the most scariest creature I've ever seen. And then suddenly, as it appeared, it jumped off the ledge down through the pine trees. This had to be at least a 50-60 foot drop. It done it so gracefully, as if you was watching a diver in the Olympics. We didn't sleep that night. We were scared to death. The next morning we packed our bags and left the motel. We didn't even know where we was going, but we knew we had to get out of this area, and definitely out of the woods. As we drove away, we couldn't help but look back at the things we had seen. We drove for hours, and finally making it back home to the concrete city that we live in now. I'm so glad to escape those woods, and I don't see how people can even live around them. This thing followed us a long distance at regular car speeds, 45 to 65 miles an hour. It had made it to our motel by that night and was able to beat on our door, and then jump from the balcony of our motel 50 to 60 feet down through the pines and to disappear. Why did it follow us here just to do that? You know, a lot of people, they wonder why when they see these creatures that they follow them. And one reason it may have followed you, and the good thing might be, is that you did stop at the motel because it might have been hoping to follow you to your home. So since you all did stop at the motel and stayed at the motel, you may have bought yourself enough time that it hopefully didn't follow you home. The people at the motel may have trouble now, but I think that you all stopping at that motel might have saved you a lifelong of being terrorized by this, like a lot of people are that accidentally have these encounters. What do y'all think? Let me know in the comments. Do you think that the motel saved them? And also, guys, don't forget tonight at 8 o'clock Central Time, we're going to have a live with a special guest, Lavon Halina. It's going to be a great one, guys. We hope to see y'all there. And remember, smash that like button, keep your head on a swivel, and don't be something's dinner. We'll see you on the next one.